That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
Welcome to Camp Strange, campers. It is I, Alex Tobin.
And it is me, David Stokes. That's fucking weird. Back at it again with the spooky stories.
With the white vans. And this is episode 2.5. You thought last time was 2.5, but this time is actually 2.5.
Now's our quarter podcast crisis.
This is a midlife crisis for...
You're not making it at 50?
I'm going out at 50, baby. I don't care what the doctors say. I decide.
I want to die at 69.
That'd be a cool way to die.
Because I just don't want to see my 70s.
That'd be a cool age to die. Well, how do you want to die?
In a ball of flames.
I want to die in a shootout, and I'm going to have two guns in either hand, and I'm just going to be like spinning around in a circle and firing at like a bunch of... And I'm going to get a lot of them.
Hell yeah.
But...
Get a lot of them as in like you're going to hit a lot of people or get a lot of guns?
Both. And
okay.
I'm gonna, but no, mainly hit a lot of people. And it, no, wait, it makes it seem like I'm shooting random people now. No.
Who are you shooting?
These are cartel or Russian mafia.
Oh, okay, so it's a good thing.
Or Yakuza. There's a lot of people that are after me right now. You obviously don't get my lifestyle, but
it's a good thing that we're, doing a podcast.
We're gonna
hiding really well.
Well, that's Alex Tobin's not my real name.
Is it not?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hooger Yolk.
Oh, well,
shouldn't have said that. That's my real name, Hooger Yolk. But
door's gonna get kicked down any second.
Yeah. but yeah, I mean,
well, Hooger
going out of 50.
Yeah, 50.
And I'm gonna be like in an open canyon area, so it'll be fine. Like I'm not gonna hit anybody.
So you're gonna get the Yakuza, the mafia. You're gonna get them all in an open canyon.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like John Wick with like ethics. John Wick has ethics, right?
I mean, he kills his dog, he's gonna kill you.
Yeah. I guess he's...
You dent his car, he's gonna kill you. Is that what the second one was about?
No,
Was it not about his car?
I don't think it was mainly about his car. I think it was just mainly about people trying to still kill him.
Oh, yeah, that's
And if you come after John Wick, he's coming after you.
He's the Reaper.
But anyway, let's get into this news story that I got, because I got a news story sent to me by the lovely Simply Strange podcast.
Oh.
And they're fans, and they always have nice things to say, which is always very kind and
rare.
Yeah, and if you guys like well-told horror stories, unlike this podcast, you can go check them out. They're great. It's very kind of lore-esque if you've listened to that podcast, but it's just basically these spooky stories that are told in more of like a novel form, with like suspense and some background music, and it sounds nice. But they sent us over this news article from apparently in Greensboro, North Carolina, at the University of North Carolina.
Okay.
A student found a man in her closet trying on her clothes. So it's very...
That must have been a spacious closet.
It's very... I thought when I first read this, I was like, oh, no, has he been living in the closet? I don't know. But, like, it's kind of... There's a little bit of both.
In a woman's closet?
Yeah, so...
No way.
Women are dirtier than guys. To a certain extent.
Not
in every way, but like clothes piles, they have a lot more clothes piles.
Oh, no.
You don't think so?
Not from my experiences.
Anyway, this guy, he made piles because he was on the floor trying on her clothing, and she's quoted as saying, I've been having like pieces of clothes missing, like shirts and pants, says Maddie, a junior at the college, and items were disappearing and handprints were left behind on the bathroom walls. So she actually thought she was like being haunted or something like that. Really crazy.
Handprints of what?
Of his hands, because he's dirty. He's a dirty guy.
Oh my God.
And
I mean, I'm gonna put my hand against your wall right now.
Why white walls don't? Well, you're not dirty enough.
I'm just saying, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I haven't showered in 3 days. And I was also working those 3 days. I'm dirty.
Really?
No.
You don't work.
I know.
So basically, on Saturday, she uncovered she finally figured out the mystery as her and her roommate, which her and her roommate thought was a ghost, and she heard rattling in her closet that sounded like a raccoon, apparently. And I'm like, who's there? And somebody answers me. He's like, oh, my name is Drew. I open the door, and he's sitting there wearing all of my clothes.
Oh, hey, I'm Drew.
My socks, my shoes, and he was looking, and he had a book bag full of my clothes. So police said
So if he's got a book bag, that means he can read.
No, that means he can carry books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Police said that 30-year-old Drew Swofford, he appeared in court on Monday via video conference from the Guilford County Jail, so he is in jail now. And but while they were waiting to arrest him, Maddie called her boyfriend as she waited for the police and her boyfriend to show up, she talked to Swofford to keep him distracted because, like, I don't know, I guess she felt like she wanted to keep him there so like he wouldn't disappear and show back up. So she was like,
yeah, and
she felt like it was safe enough. But she basically says he tries on my hat. He goes into the bathroom and looks in the mirror, and then he's like, "You're really pretty. Can I give you a hug?" She recalls, but he never touched me. She said. So
was he talking to himself?
No. I think he.
Like he wasn't talking to his reflection?
I think he walked in with like a sweet little hat, checked himself out, was like, okay, I look good enough to shoot my shot. I'm going to go for it. So he walked back out of the bathroom and was like, I'm really pretty. Can I hug you?
Oh, okay.
Or maybe he was talking to himself.
I think he was talking to himself, dude.
Oh, well, you're right.
This guy's been living in someone's closet.
Wow. Well, he is pretty, I guess.
Is there a picture?
Oh, there's a picture.
Oh, yeah.
But they just don't know how he got in, so they changed all the locks, and basically...
I change my locks every week.
Because of the Yakuza?
Yeah, it's our Sunday ritual. Every Sunday we change our locks.
You're burning through money. Key guys knows
no
me by first and last name and social security number. But basically, they changed all the locks, and like the next night, the two girls like slept in the same bed together, and they're like, we cannot like stay in this house. They are so freaked out, so they're trying to move right now, and they're also trying to sue the company that like the landlord, and being like, you shouldn't have, like, your locks suck. I don't know what they're...
I feel like that's not a fair thing.
I agree.
Because, like, just by chance that there was that one time, like, I don't know, like, maybe they're taking... I'm going to just throw it out there. Maybe they have a dog. It's like, oh, I'm going to take the dog out real quick, and they didn't lock the door. And maybe that's just, like, when he moved in, you know, like...
Yeah, or just, like,
the
maybe
mail.
a window. Who knows? Like,
yeah.
It's super weird how he got in, but, I mean, you can't really sue the landlord for... That's just, like... That could have happened anywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
You know, yeah, I don't think the locks, like, all locks are basically the same. Like, he's not buying, like, fucking paper clips and, like just trying to, like, shove the door shut. I don't know, like, come on. But this is what he looks like.
Oh, okay. That's not what I expected at all.
No?
I feel like I grew up with that guy.
He kind of looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Don't say that. He'll kill us.
But you know what the weird thing is? You see how like his hair kind of looked nice in that picture? Mm-hmm. That's a comb over, because this is the other picture of him on the floor going through the luggage.
Whoa, I gotta move away from the mic to get a closer look.
Okay, here, check this out. So he's on the floor. Yeah, is that weird?
How does that even happen?
And then I don't know. And then this is him.
He
also.
does need a hat.
So he's got his like little pen and paper. It's super weird, and it's creepy, but he doesn't seem like
he
doesn't
harmless.
seem violent.
Yeah.
He seems, or like this is like a sexual thing. He seems confused.
He looks like he needs help.
Yeah, he seems like you just happen to have clothes, so he was gonna try them on.
Yeah, for sure.
So it didn't matter whose clothes they were, what the person looked like. If you had clothes,
he wants to try them on.
Andrew's wearing them. I would say Drew. Drew's wearing them.
Drew's wearing them, and
he was up front. Who's there? Hey, it's me, Drew. I'm gonna cut to the point.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
I'm new in town.
I'm pretty, bitch.
Have you ever heard that? What's his name? The guy who did Spider-Ham's voice, John Mulaney.
Yeah, John Mulaney.
You ever heard that stand-up bit? I'm new in town.
I think so. I don't know.
That's a really good one.
I like John Mulaney.
Is that the end there?
That is the end of Drew. I mean, he has like a $26,000 bond, but
bummer.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like they shouldn't put him in jail. I think they should put him in like a psychiatric ward, because I think that's probably. He said he's facing like 14 felonies, which is like bullshit.
Ooh.
Like
just for that one thing, or previous accounts.
No, I think it's just this one thing. I mean, they didn't say if it was like a concurring sentence or something like that for like
Okay.
other things. Like he had stuff out on him, but
Yeah. Okay.
I just feel so bad for the guy. It's so weird that I'm siding with this dude, but he seems crazy. Or he's a great actor and he's just like, fuck, I got caught here. I'm going to play this up.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got 3 here I want to share. The first one...
Jesus.
Well, okay, so the first one I'm just going to read the headline because I tried to click on the...
Sorry, that was blood.
I'm just going to try... I'm going to try to like pretend like I know what's going on. I'm just reading the headline because it's one of those shitty websites that you click and it's like... disable ad blocker and all this stuff pops up and I don't want to deal with that.
And you got to subscribe to their
Exactly.
newspaper.
So the headline for this is Florida woman's sex adventure in hot tub erupts into gunfire.
Oh my God, I told you this is how I'm going out, baby. That's my future wife.
Yep. So
why is it always they lead like Florida woman is like the biggest crutch. It's almost like
and Florida man. I mean there's a whole subreddit called Florida man.
True, but it's almost like somebody's going to click on it because it says Florida something, you know?
Yep.
Florida Georgia line.
So not to get you too razzled up, here's another one called Florida woman arrested for throwing frozen pork chops at boyfriend.
Oh.
Yes.
You work with what you got, you know.
Yeah.
And a frozen pork chop is heavy enough to be considered a deadly weapon if they're frozen. Because if you hit somebody with a cast on your arm, that's considered assault with a deadly weapon.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I think a frozen pork chop. Do you know my friend got hit in the eye or hit in the eyebrow with a rib bone?
I don't know why I would know that.
You're right, you wouldn't know that. But back in the
ribs for
day,
dinner.
you know, when you get into shenanigans where, you finish a rack of ribs in the garage.
Start hucking them.
No, honestly, I had like 4 friends who were eating like ribs in the garage, and one of them thought it'd be funny. You know, like when you turn off all the lights and you start running into each other, you start throwing stuff.
Yeah.
So they were doing that, and all the lights were off in the garage, and he threw a rib bone, and it hit him right above the eye, and it split his eye open, and he had to go get stitches because he got hit in the head with a rib bone.
I'm honestly having deja vu. I feel like I actually have heard this story before.
I don't think I've told you this story.
I don't know.
I mean,
beside the fact.
it's a pretty common thing for people to happen. If it said Florida man struck with rib bone, you'd been like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one's basically like 5 sentences long, just saying that the incident involving a 48-year-old woman got into a argument with her boyfriend, and the pork chop hit the man in his eyebrow and caused about a half-inch laceration.
No way! Are you fucking serious?
Meat bones just fly straight to that.
I fucking told you. You know why? Because the skin is so tight. Oh, that was me. I hit my mic. Sorry. The skin is so tight on your forehead and your eyebrow area that if you like, my neighbor got hit in the.
Oh yeah, no. People have a lot of scars there. 'Cause
Yeah.
it doesn't take much to
I
bust
split
that
my eye.
open.
Look, I have a scar right here going through
Yeah.
my eyebrow. But my neighbor also got hit with a wiffle ball bat by like a 4-year-old and split his eye open.
That's a hard one to
was
tell.
eyebrow, but
Yeah. That's
I have
rough.
stitches there. That's where I split my head open.
Yeah, and then I have my third one here that I I remember taking a screenshot of this about a week or 2 ago, so I couldn't find the actual article, but I went back to who I sent it to find it, and the headline says, the title is Minnesota man arrested after allegedly holding meth-fueled, quote, death party for his wife before she died.
What?
And it has a little headline up here. The 58-year-old man allegedly had sex with his wife for 2 hours before she died, then washed her body, wrapped it in a linen, quote, like the Bible told him to do, according to court documents. Authorities say the suspect ran out of the house naked to yell that his wife was dead. And please look at this mugshot.
Oh my. No! Was that real? Please, no.
Yep.
Why is he laughing?
I don't know if he's laughing or if he's crying.
Oh, okay. The thing is, honestly, my jaw was open, like hitting the floor during that whole thing, because that is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
I'm gonna text this one to you so you can put it up on the maybe when we upload this one, because it maybe just a tail end on.
That's a face made for
photo.
Instagram. You need to
that photo is
to
so
see
good.
that. But that's insane to me.
Yeah.
It's okay. If I'm too, I know this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like if I'm 2 hours away from dying, the last thing I want to do is for somebody to have sex with me for those last 2 hours.
On meth? I don't know.
Was she on meth?
I can only
guess she
assume
was on
so.
meth.
A
You know what she died
meth-fueled
of?
sex party.
She died of a
Probably
meth
meth.
overdose or being
I mean, I can't imagine being 58.
pounded to death.
Oof. Not to put it lightly.
He didn't put it lightly. What's up?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
But
I'm
I can
sorry.
only imagine doing meth at 58 is not a good thing for your body.
I feel like 58 is the perfect time to do meth because your body's already not good.
If you're going to do it late, I guess.
I mean,
know.
that's 8 years
Either
past
young or
my life
late.
cycle.
Yeah. I mean, mid-30s, mid-20s to, like, mid-40s is probably a bad time to start doing the old meth.
Are you condoning meth use?
No, I'm just saying. If you're going to do it real young and realize it was a mistake, or do it real old and have fun with it, get real weird.
I just don't do meth.
Oh, yeah.
There's
No.
more than two options.
No. I led that with saying if you're going to do it.
And also, I mean, at least she was like kind enough to like wrap her in a sheet. But I was
nice linen.
I was very concerned when he ran out screaming happily, "My wife is dead."
Don't forget to add in that he was naked.
Did he say it was a party, by the way, too?
Yeah.
So there's people there, other than himself.
You know, it takes two to tango, but I don't know what you'd consider a
but
party.
three's company.
Yeah.
So maybe they needed like the Guinness Book of World Records guy there.
With a video camera?
He's like, the crazy guy on Matt's like, yeah, has anybody ever done this before? He's like, I'll have to check the archives, but no, I don't think so.
Let me check the books.
I don't think anybody's tried for this combo in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Pretty sure they had a crafty guy there, too.
Well, they had
Cooking up quesadillas.
They had a guy tossing them Gatorades and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Stay thirsty, my friends. But, yeah, so, holy shit. Holy shit. He wins.
I don't know how I forgot about
He's
that.
arrested.
Until now.
He's arrested.
I mean, at least from, like,
For
the
meth. Yeah.
the bare minimum.
And maybe, like, public indecency.
Yeah.
I mean, we might find out later that there might be foul play in the wife's death, but we'll see. We're taking a guy high on meth's word right now
That's true.
about his story. So
Usually not a good idea.
we'll see if there's anything else that comes out of this one.
Yeah, I'll see if I can jump on the horn and see if there's anything else going on with that.
I'll go contact him. But okay, yeah, I guess we're all caught up on what's happening in the world today.
Yep.
Aren't you glad you heard that?
Yep.
Some news stations really focus on the negative. Some focus on the positive. We focus on the meth
I
heads.
was gonna say the strange. That would have made that would have been good, but no.
That's too. They expect that.
On the nose.
Yeah,
All right.
the meth. All meth related stories.
Let's do a meth episode. You want to do meth and do an episode?
If you bring your wife, I'll do it. How about this? You bring your wife, I'll bring the shroud, and we'll get
the shroud.
We'll get.
What is shroud?
Is what you wrap her in after.
I don't know what.
Was it a linen? What do you
linen? What's a shroud?
I don't know. Don't ask.
Is that a
me.
word? Is that a
Yeah.
thing? I don't know what that is.
I think cults wear them. Just a shroud. I don't know.
Colts like a horse.
Shut the fuck up! I'm gonna jump across this table and inject you with meth.
I wish you would.
Okay,
Prove it.
let's get into these stories before I say something else weird.
All right.
All right. So today I'm going to be telling you the story about Gloria Ramirez, also known as the Toxic Woman.
Ooh.
You know about this?
I don't think I do.
You heard about this? You know about this?
I don't think I know about this.
Okay, so this happened actually in Riverside, California. So it is close. That's kind of near Long Beach area, you know,
LB.
down there. So at 8:15 p.m. on February 19th, 1994, 31-year-old cervical cancer patient Gloria Ramirez was admitted to Riverside General Hospital in Riverside, California. It's really sad because she has cervical cancer, which is like awful.
Yeah.
So, and she was told this, I believe, 6 weeks prior to this event happening. So it was a very, very fast, process.
Yeah. I mean, 6 weeks is nothing. It's not a lot of time at all.
No. And yeah, it's pretty devastating. So, but, so she was admitted to the Riverside Hospital. And when she was admitted, she was conscious but suffering. She was breathing very shallow. Her heart was beating very rapidly, and her blood pressure was plummeting. They injected her with a mishmash of standard medications. That is not a medical term, mishmash.
But that's what you found. That's what you're quoting your source.
No, that's my jargon.
Yikes.
Jargon. But so they injected her with some standard medications and attempted to inject air into her lungs with a device known as an ambu bag, which is like basically like kind of like a bellows, like a fireplace bellows.
Oh, okay.
But it's shaped like a kind of like a football, like a clear football, and you squeeze it, and it's like it just acts as like your lungs.
Oh,
outside
I think
your
I know
body.
exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they use it a lot actually.
I feel like on ER they use that shit every episode.
Exactly. Yeah, they always do that. So they're doing that to try to get her to breathe. But when she came in, two things seemed really strange about her condition. Her skin seemed to have a slightly oily sheen to it, and her breath had a smell like fruit and garlic.
That's a strange
Combo.
Yeah. I mean, just saying something smells like fruit is also kind of strange to me because, like, lots of fruits have very unique and different smells.
I think what they're probably trying to say overall is like it's like a sweet but like strong pungent smell. You know what I mean? Like fruit and garlic, but that's a weird thing where it's like I feel like if you smell garlic on someone's breath and they haven't eaten garlic, there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, that's,
you know
that's probably
not fruit,
a fair
'cause
thing to say.
You could eat a nice stick of juicy fruit and then be confused. You could be confusing people.
Juicy fruit.
That's a shitty gum. I'm sorry.
Okay. Now it
yellow.
hit a bell, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck is juicy fruit again?" And I was thinking high chews for a second.
Oh, high chews are great.
Yeah, those things are awesome.
Juicy fruit's kind of weird. Big Red's good.
I mean, all those gums taste great for 6 seconds, and then you're just chewing on rubber.
That's zebra gum. You ever had that one?
Zebra gum
That
clocks
lasts
in at 3 seconds.
3, yeah, exactly. So, but
you get those cool tattoos.
so she had no juicy fruit in her pockets. They checked, and no garlic.
Okay.
But no, they didn't check her pockets. So next, after they smelt her stinky breath, stinky fruity breath, they attempted to take her blood. Nurse Susan Kane was assigned that task and noticed that the room began to take on a strange chemical smell as a syringe filled with blood. She gave the syringe to respiratory therapist Maureen Welch, who thought the blood smelled funny. Okay, why is everybody smelling so much shit in this hospital?
I feel like it has to be like, obviously, I'm not going to say it's protocol to smell the body fluids, but I feel like if the smell is like so strong, you're going to notice it.
Well, yeah, but that's a weird thing where I thought it would be like in a vial, but like obviously, I think when you not all the blood's going to go in the vial. Some's probably going to show up on the skin, and maybe there was another pungent smell other than her garlic fruity breath.
But I mean, like if you say every day for God knows how many years you are taking blood that you're gonna have to like process and test and stuff like that. You deal with blood every single day. If all of a sudden one day you're just like, whoa, what does that smell?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
It doesn't smell like iron.
You're gonna notice that.
Yeah, and apparently, like the next thing I wrote was not the telltale scent of chemotherapy drugs, but more like ammonia. So apparently when you take chemotherapy drugs, your blood does smell different.
Yeah.
But this smelled more like ammonia, which is a very, very pungent smell again. Yeah. Welch then passed the syringe to medical resident Julie Gongrinsky, who saw small manila-colored particles floating in her blood. That's when Kane, who had been leaning over Ramirez to find the source of the smell, fainted.
Ooh.
So one of the nurses fainted.
Because the smell is so bad. And I mean, like, working in a hospital, you're going to smell some gnarly things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just so crazy to think about the little specks in her blood.
Oh, yeah, no, that's crazy. That's not a good
So,
sign.
Manila is like that tan kind of color,
Mm-hmm.
and there are little specks floating in her blood, which I can't think of any reason why that would be happening, but...
Yeah, any specks in any blood of any color is not a good thing.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign to cure them.
Yeah.
So later, she said her face felt as though it was burning. So this lady fainted. Her face feels like she's burning, and her fellow staff placed her limp body on a gurney and carried it out of the trauma center. Gogrinsky, I can't pronounce that last name, but I'm just going to call her Gogrinsky.
Oh, just you wait for the last names in my story.
So Gogrinsky felt the lightheaded next. So the next nurse started feeling a little lightheaded and barely making out of the room before she fainted as well. So that's 2 nurses down.
Whoa.
She also began showing other symptoms. Her whole body began to shake, and she would intermittently stop breathing. Fucking frightening, right?
Jesus.
I mean, at this point, you don't really know if you're suffering from panic attacks or if there's something going on in that room, but we'll get into that later.
I mean, I feel like if you've got, these nurses deal with a lot every single day. Shout out to nurses. You guys do an amazing job, but like...
They're exhausted.
Well,
Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying losing 2 in one day, like, I feel like that is not a usual thing. Like, something is different here.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, they see a concoction of things go on in a hospital. I doubt that taking blood and smelling something weird is the thing that makes them faint.
It's got to be that extreme.
Yeah, so Welch fainted next. So the 3rd nurse then fainted. And when she woke up, she couldn't control her limbs.
Holy shit.
She's like an octopi
That's
woman?
not a good nurse.
Octopi woman? that's the
So when you
first
say
thing
she
that came to
couldn't
mind.
control them, like, were they just like limp,
I
or
think
were they like flailing around like an octopus out of water? What are you trying to say here?
Well, that when I immediately read the article, that's what I thought. I thought she was like just like throwing hands or something like that.
Yeah.
Throwing a little kick, throwing a little hand, John Wick in it. But apparently she just couldn't move them.
Yeah.
So that's what they meant by can't control our limbs, which does make more sense in the grand scheme.
I mean, that's how I...
So several other staff members at the hospital began exhibiting similar symptoms, and administrators declared a state of emergency as doctors, nurses, and patients were filed into the building's parking lot. A skeleton crew, though, remained behind to tend to Ramirez, who was eventually declared dead at 8:50 p.m., which is 45 minutes later.
Jesus.
Yeah. At the time of the incident, by the time the incident passed, 23 people had fallen ill and 5 would need hospitalization.
God damn.
So the team that went back in to care for her in the short amount of time she was alive, apparently they were rocking hazmat suits for obvious reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
But they were completely fine. Which is the main question that a lot of people have here is the chemical reaction versus the mental reaction, which is was this a bad chemical reaction of something that was going on in her body that made a vapor that would make somebody sick enough to pass out or lose control of their limbs, or was it mass hysteria?
Okay.
And that was a big question in this whole thing that we'll get into right now.
Is mass hysteria a real thing?
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
I always thought that was like a term people used to like kind of explain things, but like are there a lot of cases of mass hysteria where everybody's just losing their shit?
Yeah, there was another case of mass hysteria in I can't remember what Northern European country, but like Sweden or Norway or something like that. There was a Coca-Cola. These children drank Coca-Cola, and then they started...
When it had cocaine in it?
No. They just started falling ill from it, and like a bunch of kids started throwing up and stuff like that.
Okay.
And basically, they tested the Coca-Cola, and they said that it had a slightly higher like level of some sort of like carbonation or syrup or something going on in it.
Yeah.
But it was not correlated to making anybody sick, but they ended up having to... pool all of the Coca-Cola in Norway, and they lost like millions and like maybe even billions of dollars.
Yeah. That's like the aspirin thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people in Norway, they started being like, "Oh, I'm sick too," and then they would start throwing up and they started feeling ill. But like they're like, no, that and they tested the Coke that they drank, and they're like, your Coke's not affected.
Yeah.
So basically,
almost like a placebo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, your mind is really strong, and people don't, people don't give it enough credit.
They don't.
No.
Yeah, we don't know about like 99.99% of our fucking brain, for God's sakes. That's not true.
What'd you just say?
What I was just saying was like there's still a lot of our like human brain that like people still don't understand like what it does. Like, it's still pretty, like, a lot of it's a mystery.
The brain is just trying to figure itself out.
For sure.
You know, that's the
Just
the
so
trippiest
just so
part.
confused.
Confused.
I know my brain is very confused most of the time.
Especially when you got a half bottle of wine on it.
Yep. Shout out to Bogle. Can we get sponsored by Bogle Wines?
Is it Boggle? I call it Boggle. Is it Bogle?
I call it Bogle. Bogle. I call it Bogle.
Fuck with Bogle.
If we could show, maybe we should send a little DM to Bogle and say, hey, there are 6 bottles of open wine of Bogle in this living
Shut
room.
the fuck up. Okay.
Can we get a sponsorship?
So they're like, no, you're going to buy it regardless.
I don't know, man. I think that's our strongest case if we ever get paid for this.
So back to this investigation of Gloria. So at this point, the county health department called in California's Department of Health and Human Services, which put 2 scientists, Dr. Anna Maria Osorio and Kristen Waller, on the case. They interviewed 34 hospital staff who had been working in the emergency department on February 19th. Using a standardized questionnaire, Osorio and Waller found that the people who had developed severe symptoms such as loss of consciousness, shortness of breath, and muscle spasms tended to have certain things in common. People who had worked within 2 feet of Ramirez and had handled her intravenous illness had been at high risk, but other factors that correlated with severe symptoms did not appear to match a scenario in which fumes had been released. The survey found that those afflicted tended to be women rather than men, and they all had normal blood tests after the exposure. They believed the hospital workers suffered from mass hysteria. So that's what these 2 investigators found at the end. They go, okay, we just did a questionnaire, and they all seem pretty, similar in all these symptoms, but none of them had anything wrong with them.
I feel like that's just a cop-out.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the lady, I can't pronounce her last name, Gorchniski.
Mm-hmm. Yeah? One more time?
That one's bad.
You want to try that one again?
Yeah, Gorchniski.
Take down that wall.
Gorginski.
Okay.
Gorginski. That was hard.
Bring down that wall.
So,
was it bring down that wall?
So Gorginski, the one, like, I think she was like the 3rd nurse that fainted, she denied that she had been afflicted with mass hysteria and pointed to her own medical history as evidence, because after the exposure, she spent 2 weeks in the intensive care unit with breathing problems. She developed hepatitis and avascular necrosis in her knees. So it's like...
It's always the knees that go out first.
No, it's just like really interesting because on one part, like maybe half of those people who said that they got it, maybe that was mass hysteria.
Yeah.
But maybe some of them were actually afflicted with something. Like that's how
yeah.
mass hysteria happens, is that usually a couple people are actually afflicted with it. So maybe she was, because she was one of the ones that was like 2 feet, within 2 feet of her. Maybe she was handling the blood. But the thing that was also really interesting is that, to go against the whole mass hysteria idea, is that they said that her skin was really oily in the beginning when they brought her in, and being 6 weeks out from possible death, they believe that she used this stuff called DMSO cream, which is which was a cream that was banned in 1965 for being a toxic substance, but it was known as a possible cure-all, some
snake oil.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. But she had laced.
Hold on. So you said that it was banned in 1965?
Yes.
What year was this happening?
This was happening in 1994.
Okay.
So it was banned a while ago.
She could have bought a Costco pack that just never ran out, and it expired and just made it way worse.
You never...
Did I crack it?
Never use expired cream.
Did I crack the case?
Whether it's in your fridge or behind your mirror in your medicine cabinet.
Doesn't matter.
Cream's bad.
When the cream goes bad, it goes bad.
When the cream's bad, it's bad. Bad cream. So... So she used this. It says the reason that Ramirez used the toxic substance on her skin goes back to when DSMO was all the rage as a cure-all. Research in the early 1960s led doctors to believe that DMSO could relieve pain and reduce anxiety. Athletes would even rub DMSO cream on their skin to try to relieve aches and muscles.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it made him real slippery and hard to tackle.
I mean, who knows? I mean, that's why they get that pine tar on their hands.
Oh, yeah.
Not pine tar. What is it called? Stickum?
Yeah.
That was that
Stick 'em.
sticky shit.
Shit,
Yeah,
they still use that.
I don't think it's banned, actually.
Well, no, it's definitely illegal. People get caught using that,
People
don't
get
they?
caught. Yeah, it's like,
which is funny because
it's like Vaseline on the hat when you're throwing a pitch, you know what I mean? Can't use that shit.
It's just
anymore.
funny that, like, Stickum is made for that specifically, right? And then they still sell it even though it's banned?
Yeah.
It's not illegal to make it. It's illegal to use it.
Yeah, it's like...
I just think that's funny.
Well, that's the thing. It's not illegal in the world. It's
No.
like the NFL was like,
The one purpose
this
has.
is a big advantage. But yeah, you could probably... Yeah.
You could go buy it, but you can't use it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the one that you use it only for football, I think, you know.
Stickum, I thought that was really big for baseball.
No, that's pine tar.
Okay.
That's where you rub on like the...
Oh, okay.
It's the same concept,
Yeah,
basically.
now they got those bullshit gloves that you can catch anything with.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Stickum that you could take off your hand.
Yeah.
It's just a glove. So, but like we digress. But the DSMO, apparently they did a study on mice and it showed it could ruin your eyesight. So when that happened and they found out that it could ruin your eyesight, DSMO use stopped for the most part. Like nobody wanted to use it. But it did gain an underground following as a cure-all for many types of ailments, and by the late 1970s, the only way to get the substance was as a degreaser in hardware stores. The DMSO found in degreasers was 99% pure, as opposed to less concentrated form that was in muscular creams in the 1960s. So they're using this DSMO shit in degreasers.
Yeah, put that shit on your fucking car motor so you can, you know.
Yeah, it was just a pure form of DMSO.
Yeah.
And it was in this shit that you're supposed to rub on your car.
Yeah, you're working on your car, you got to get all that grease out of there, and then you got to reapply the grease. You know, you got to go through cycles, but you got to start at zero.
If you ever go to an auto parts store and buy something and then rub it on your skin, you're doing it wrong. You don't do that. You don't.
See, I think wiper fluid smells great.
I drink wiper fluid, but
I don't doubt it. It
rub
smells,
it on my body.
Man, it smells so good.
It's nice blueberry looking.
What you get? You get about a good 3 shots of vodka, 2 shots of whiskey. You pour them in a glass. You put that wiper fluid in there, a little bit of Gatorade and a Red Bull.
Looks like curacao.
You're ready for spring.
What's that called?
You're ready for spring break
Yeah.
in Springfield.
I like that blueberry juice they sell at AutoZone.
If it's good enough for my car, it's good enough for me.
So basically, the whole idea behind this substance DSMO on her skin was that when they found out when it was exposed to oxygen, that it converts to I cannot pronounce this either, but like dimethyl sulfate. And
That sounds good.
Long story short, because it just basically goes into chemical reactions for like the latter part of this article.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But basically, they just believe that the other theory besides mass hysteria was that this substance reacted with possibly some of her medications or some of she was taking a lot of Tylenol. She was taking a lot of like other, not necessarily doctor prescribed, but like store bought over the counter stuff.
I mean, you just take all those and you can really fuck yourself up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think she just had like a concoction of stuff, and the other theory was that this concoction somehow made a vapor or made some kind of gas that poisoned these people.
Yeah.
So I mean.
That makes sense. I mean, like, your body's going to sweat certain things out, and if there's something on top of your skin that doesn't mix well, it could produce, a gas of some sort.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's super, it's unlikely, but I mean, it could happen.
See, I don't think it's that. I don't know. I buy it.
If you mix bleach and what's the other thing to make?
What are you trying to make, huh?
I don't know. There's some gases that
You got your anarchist cookbook open?
I can, yeah. I mean, well, no, these are just like certain things. When you use bleach, they tell you not to use other certain things like other household cleaners with bleach because it's super easy
Knock yourself out.
to make. Yeah, like if you use like ammonia with bleach, you could create like some toxic gases that can kill you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, in seconds. You know, but
It's like in Joe Dirt.
oh yeah, mustard gas. Yeah, made mustard gas. So, but by the end of it, 2 months after Ramirez died, her badly decomposed body was released for an independent autopsy and burial. And by the way, her body was autopsied 3 different times. One like right after her death, one like 3 weeks after her death, and one right before her burial. So the Riverside Coroner's Office hailed Livermore's DMSO conclusion as the probable cause of the hospital workers' symptoms, while her family disagreed. The family believed that actually they're like, you have poor like hygiene at this hospital, you like malpractice, and they were basically, but that's always what happens when somebody dies at a hospital. They go, you doctors fucked up. And sometimes they do fuck up.
Oh, no, for sure.
But
Malpractice is a thing.
But there's also complications, especially when you're 6 weeks away and you have like late-stage cervical cancer. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with your body at that point where you have chemo, you have a lot of medication in your body. You know,
Yeah.
there's stuff going on. So the Ramirez family's pathologist was unable to determine a cause of death because her heart was missing at the time. I mean, not when she died, but
I was going to say, that's a good, you really narrowed it down why she died.
like, oh, she didn't have a heart the whole time. But they actually believed that the whole, you know, idea was that she had kidney failure, which eventually led into heart failure, and that's why she maybe had that like gritty stuff in her blood, is because like of the failing organs. Because her heart was missing after this autopsy, so they couldn't check it apparently, and her other organs were cross-contaminated with fecal matter, and her body was so badly decomposed because they took a long time. They did 3 autopsies on her, so
Yeah.
I think that, you know, her body wasn't in the greatest of conditions at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
And on April 20th, 1994, 10 weeks after her death, so they kept her body out for 10 weeks doing autopsies, Ramirez was buried at Olivewood Memorial Park in Riverside. So she's still pretty close by. She's still buried in Riverside.
Wow.
But yeah, she was known as the Toxic Woman, and it's still a mystery to this day about what actually went wrong with her body.
Yeah.
Some may say that it was mass hysteria. Some may say that it was a chemical composition mixture that
it
did
really,
it.
Yeah, really makes you think, huh? I'm no scientist guy.
And
I don't know my science stuff, but it really makes you think.
Well, maybe one they never brought up, but maybe it was maybe she wasn't even human at all,
That could be part of it. Maybe she was an X-Man
or an alien,
or an Avenger
or a Martian.
or a Swamp Thing.
Kyle didn't know who Swamp Thing was. He was looking through one of my comic books. He's like, I like this guy. And I was like, oh, that's Swamp Thing. And he's
I
like,
feel like Kyle could connect
he's like,
with Swamp Thing.
he's like, oh, he's like a comic book guy? I'm like, yeah. He's in like Dark Justice League. And he's like,
He does those comic book things?
he's like, oh, I could get into him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet you could, dude.
A short line.
So, long story short, I don't have a moral for this one.
Yeah. Don't take too many medications
Don't put
and
DMSO.
weird shit on you.
Don't go to an AutoZone, drink the spicy blueberry juice, and
I know it's tempting.
rub the degreaser all over your body, because chances are you're just going to make a gas, and not the kind that comes out your fanny that kills people.
Yeah, stay away from those forbidden foods.
I ate a lot of lima beans. A lot of broad beans.
A lot of broad beans. I was going to say, you've got quite a green tint to you.
I do.
That's quite the throwback.
And I got a gas more deadly than whatever she made. They call me the Toxic Man.
All right. I think I'm going to cut you there and say it's my time to tell a story.
Cut me off.
But before we get into my story, I want to bring up our sponsor, Bogle Winery. I'm really banking on this one, Bogle. Come through. All right, well, so today I'm going to take us all the way to a place that is now called Russia.
Oh, it was called the Soviet Union before.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a fairly popular story, but trust me, it's a spooky spooky one.
Ooh.
I'm sure you know all about this one because you're a weirdo and you.
I don't
all
know.
these
I don't
stories.
know a lot of Ruski stories.
Okay, so on February, which by the way, that's a fucked up word. Who named that month February? February. It's just awfully spelt.
It's bad.
It's a bad word. So February 2nd, 1959, in the Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union, a group of students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute were all geared up and ready to go on a skiing expedition.
Yeah, I could already tell you're going to have a lot of difficulty pronouncing some of these words.
Oh, just wait till I get into the names.
When I heard Ural.
What is it?
No, I'm just saying. The way you say it,
Oh.
it's like how you pronounce February.
Yeah. February. So their plan was to go on a trek that was 350 kilometers on skis, throughout the northern Urals to Mount Otoronten, which translates into the local tongue as "don't go there."
Oh, yeah. Don't.
Already pretty spooky, huh? I feel like it's a common thing where these people run into a lot of trouble when they go to these places that translate into like sketchy shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. That's our morbid curiosity is we have to go to these places that tell us not to. It's called like Death Mountain or like the Forgotten Lagoon, and you're like, I have to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they're cross country skiing, so that's nice.
Do you know what story I'm talking about? You have to.
I kind of. I think I do,
sure.
but I'll let you keep going.
Yeah. So the ski group consisted of 9 individuals who I cannot wait to embarrassingly attempt to read their names.
I think you should give them nicknames.
Well, I mean, for the most part, a lot of the first names are pretty easy. It's more the last names. And in all reality, I don't speak too much about their names, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue.
Okay.
So there was Igor Dyatlov.
So it was an Igor.
Easy. That was an easy one.
Yeah.
Here is...
You can do 9 of these?
Yeah.
How
Buckle down.
about you just give us their first names?
No, I'm going to do the full
Because they're
fucking
obviously all dead now, right?
thing. I'm doing the whole thing. Second one here, we got Zenaida Kolmongorova. Woof.
First names.
Oh, man, that's not going to make anything better. Ludmila.
Okay.
This one's real hard to fucking say, and I feel like only idiots who name this. Alexander.
He sounds like he's going to live.
Yeah. Rustem. Yuri. There's 2 Yuris. 2 different Yuris.
It's got to be 2 Yuris.
Nikolai.
These are like iconic Russian names right now. Yuri was like the first cosmonaut, right? First man in space?
Probably.
Yeah.
Sounds right. And then another Alexander.
So 2 Alexanders, 2 Yuris.
Yeah.
A Nikolai, a couple fucked up names.
Whoa, okay. I mean...
Well, I couldn't pronounce that one chick's name.
Yeah, that's hard. It's Lyudmila.
Yeah.
Should I just call her Mila?
Yeah.
Yudmila?
Mila Kunis.
Yudmila? And so the group would be led by Igor. You still don't know which one this is?
Well, I don't want to try to guess and then I ruin the whole story.
Okay.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah, I probably do. So, people started to notice when the party didn't return during their expected return date, which was scheduled for February 12th, 1959. So, the 12th of February. The family started to contact local authorities for help, which prompted the police and even the army to help scan the area on foot and even by aircraft. Fellow students and even some of the teachers would volunteer to help with the search. A short 24 days later...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You don't want to be out in the Russian wilderness for more than one day.
Yeah. So, like I said, a short 24 days later, investigators discovered the group's abandoned campsite, which what they found left behind left them no doubt that something awful had happened.
Is this cut from the Inside Out tent?
It is.
Yeah, I know what this is.
Yeah. So, from the evidence left behind, it was obvious that someone had ripped open the tent from the inside, and within the tent, investigators found most of the skiers' belongings, including their damn shoes.
Ooh.
Which is probably,
You never want to run in the snow in Russia with no shoes on.
That's for damn sure.
It's a recipe for a black toe soup.
I mean, especially up in the mountains. Along with the belongings, they found multiple rolls of film for camera and diaries, which helped the investigators track the event and the days leading up to what happened. Being that this was incredibly cold, the snow, for the most part, was untouched. It would show the investigators footprints of the skiers.
Oh, you're saying so it was untouched as in
It didn't melt. It didn't. Yeah, it just stayed like how it was left.
So they can still track what path they ran from outside the tent.
So some of these footprints would show that some of the skiers had socks on and the others were barefoot, which is also something that is not. That's not what you want to be doing in this weather.
No. Barefoot's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like sometimes even socks could almost be worse because you've got this wet fabric on your feet, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Like, I feel like if somebody's like, keep your socks or I do socks for like first 5 minutes and then ditch the socks.
Well, it's a thing that I'm not going to quote anyone on this because I don't know who to quote, but I remember hearing once it's like, if you were in the middle of nowhere and you fell into like ice cold water, like it's almost better to not be wearing the wet clothes.
Oh no, you take off the clothes immediately because then they start freezing on you. Like they attract more cold.
Exactly.
So it sucks, but
Yeah, so the investigators tracked the footprints for about 50 meters away from the tent until they just straight up disappeared. And they didn't really know where to go from there.
See, that's what's crazy is how do footprints just disappear and it's still constant snow.
Yeah.
But what I was just thinking about, too, is that when you fall into the water and then you have to take off all your clothes, would you just, if you knew you were going to die regardless, would you just leave your clothes on so, like, at least when they found you, you weren't naked?
No, I would starfish on the ground in all my glory.
I would get into the weirdest position, so when they found me, there's a lot of questions.
I'd be laying on my side with my hand on my head and smiling.
Like a Burt Reynolds, like on a bearskin rug type look.
Exactly, just smiling.
Yeah.
All the way until the end.
It's like when they found that snake in the forest fires, and it was like reared up and like trying to bite the fire. Did you see that?
No.
They found a cobra, not a cobra, but like some kind of snake in the forest during like the California fires.
Probably a rattlesnake or something.
It was like a rattlesnake, and it was up and like coiled up and reared up, like it was about to strike at something because when the fire was burning it,
just trying to defend itself. It didn't know what the hell's going on. That's
exactly.
sad.
So
I don't like that.
I mean,
that makes me sad.
But it's like kind of
badass.
Badass.
Yeah, going down a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Fuck yeah.
I mean, that snake
Fight on, snake.
Yeah, I don't know how long snakes live for, but maybe he was like an old snake, so he only had like 3 days left anyway. So,
yeah.
Let's
think on the bright side.
Yeah, let's think like that.
Yeah. So it was believed that the weather there was below 30.
Fuck that. I mean, that's still not... What was Chicago just the other day? It was like
I think
about that.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I don't know, wind chill always adds like a weird factor into it, but yeah. And so being barefoot in that low of temperature is an absolute like death wish. Like, you don't survive.
Yeah, you're gonna get your toes are gone in a matter of
moments.
Hours. Yeah, maybe minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. So the first two bodies they found were the ones of both of the Yuris.
Oh, okay. Bad to be named Yuri at the time, I guess
so.
Right? Weak.
So their bodies were found barefoot and in their underwear next to a pine tree on the edge of the forest. There was evidence that the two had attempted to make a campfire and stacked branches up 15 feet high, and it would appear that the investigators thought that they were trying to use it to get a better view, maybe hiding from someone or something. They also said it was possible that they were using it as a vantage point to try to find their camp. Like they were trying to get up high to see where their camp was.
Oh, I guess because especially in a blizzard, you probably can't see like.
I don't think it was snowing.
Okay.
Nothing in what I read said that it was actually snowing at the time.
Well, they seemed disoriented.
Well, if it was snowing, all of this shit would have been snowed over. They wouldn't see any footprints.
So at this point, we're wondering what made them cut the tent from the inside out
and book it
and run to a point where
fucking naked
they were not together anymore.
Yeah. So the next bodies that were found belonged to Igor, Zendaya, and Rustam. And these bodies were found on the edge of the forest as well. And all three had died from hypothermia, but Rustam had also had a fractured skull.
What?
Which is strange to be like they they confirmed that he died from hypothermia, but he also had a fractured skull.
Oh shit! So the two guys also died from hypothermia. I'm guessing
all
too,
three of them died
because
from hypothermia.
they're in their boxers. And if you guys don't know that, when you suffer from hypothermia, you feel right when like hypothermia kicks in, you start to feel
warm.
really hot.
Yeah.
And that's why they find most people who die from hypothermia with no clothes on, because you get super, super hot. You take off your clothes, and then, it's only moments.
Yeah, from what I've read, that if you're insanely cold, it's better that you're cold than like it goes away, because when it starts to go away, that's your body like failing.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Very scary.
So 2 months had passed since they found the other bodies, and this is when they found the final 4 bodies who had been they were found in the forest. Someone or something had crushed Nikolai's skull, and both we're just going to call her Mila. Both Mila and Alexander had multiple broken ribs, but the weirdest thing about that is that Mila had also been missing her tongue. Which I can never find any confirmation on this story, because I've seen this story 100 times. Like, I know of this story, but they've never really jumped into what type of cut removed the tongue. Like, was it a clean cut? Like, what type of cut? Because I feel like that makes the biggest difference in the world. Like, if it was a precision cut, if it was like more of like a bite out, or because you can think like, oh, maybe wolves found them, and
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that?
But like, why would they only eat her tongue and nothing else?
Well, actually, good point that you brought that up. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before in the past, but when you die out in the wilderness, the animals eat the softest parts of your body first. So the first thing to, like, when they find somebody, sometimes if they're out there, the first thing to go are the eyes, the tongue, the nose, the ears. Yeah. They're all very soft parts, and they're what animals can eat without a lot of, tearing
energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but so that's what I'm saying is, like, they never said, because I feel like there'd be a much difference between a wolf eating a tongue out of someone's mouth
and a knife
lacerating, or maybe a laser. I don't know.
Oh, so you're thinking aliens at this point?
We'll get into it. But what I'm saying, like, I feel like the remaining part of like the wound of where the tongue left the body, I feel like is something that's really important.
It's very important, but at the same time, they're probably like dealing with a lot. So they're probably like, oh, the tongue's just gone. Yeah, and it honestly might be so far back that they can't even tell.
That's true, but I feel like they would I feel like you'd be able to visually see if a tongue was swallowed opposed to cut off.
That's true.
So there are a lot of strange details with this story that don't really add up. So let's start looking at those. Somehow, with all of these crushed skulls and broken ribs, there are no external wounds at all.
Oh.
And
so no cuts, no lacerations.
No. And it was said...
all blunt force trauma then, right?
Well, I feel like even blunt force trauma can cause external
I guess that's
wounds.
True.
Yeah. And it was said that the force damage to their bodies was as equal to a car crash.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. I've definitely heard that.
And typically, if you get in a car crash and your head hits off of something, like, you're going to get a cut, like your skin's going to split. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not just going to, your skull's not going to get crushed without any damage on the outside.
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, like, for all parts. How the fuck do you crush your skull and have no marks on the outside of your skull?
You make a good point. But I don't know. I mean, it is also like -30, and I don't know how your body reacts then. Like, do you cut less because your skin's harder?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm no expert.
Yeah, neither am I, so who's to say? So another mystery is their clothing. The clothing that belonged to the people who were believed to have died first were found on the other skiers.
What?
I can see how you're confused. It was a very confusing thing to read.
Yeah.
So the first few people that they found dead, they found their clothes on the other people.
So they came across it, like the first people ditched their clothes, and the other people came across them and put them on.
Almost as if one group of people left the tent earlier, and then the second group of people
went to go look for them.
Maybe went to go look for them. Maybe they just had a delayed reaction, but they ended up putting on other people's clothes. So, for example, Alexander was wearing Mila's fur coat, but Mila's foot was wrapped in a ripped portion of one of the Yuri's pants.
And one of the Yuris was still alive.
Both of the Yuris were the first people found dead.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So it sounds like that she might have been like I'm getting like my feet really hurt, so they're trying to do something with like to keep her foot warm because maybe she was getting frostbite.
Ripped off part of his pants,
and then they eventually all just got hypothermia and started ditching their clothes.
But also the Yuris were naked; they were in their underwear.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, hypothermia.
Yeah. So another mystery to this story is one of the weirder things to me is that their clothings all had high levels of radiation.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're in Russia, so like, isn't there like radiation
Chernobyl.
everywhere? Yeah, isn't like radiation everywhere? So
yeah. And on top of that, this is one thing that's weird to me. The first 5 bodies they found had an extremely orange tone to their skin.
Oh, I mean, that's interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do with extreme, frost temperatures that changes the
because
body color.
It was only 5 out of 4 of the bodies.
Huh.
A little more than half of them had extremely orange skin, which doesn't make any sense. So, to this day, no true answers were ever given to the mourning families for peace. None of them ever got a true answer what happened to their loved ones. And the government closed the case and labeled it as classified, which only makes things, a little more sketchy to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't until many decades later that the investigation files became open for review. In the files, one more very, very, very strange puzzle piece came out. And that is a testimony from an individual who was camping 50 kilometers away who witnessed a strange orange sphere glowing and floating around in the night sky the night they died.
Okay, so...
it was multiple spheres. It was spheres, not just one.
Okay, so that's really interesting. Because I've never heard that part of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go into what I actually heard really quickly. Are you done? I don't want to cut you off though. So I mean, I'll wait till you're done to tell.
All right, I'll finish up this last little bit.
No, you don't have to rush it or anything.
No. So many people thought the possibility of the indigenous Mansi. I don't know. I think
Is
that's
that a Native American tribe?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Native American. They're in fucking Russia.
Yeah.
Native Russian tribe.
Yeah.
But they crossed over on the the bridge, the ice bridge. I'm sorry, I have to backtrack really quick. I have to cover my snow tracks.
Yeah. So the indigenous people to the area, people thought they were responsible. That was ruled out by investigators. I didn't really get much information to how that was ruled out, but they just basically ruled it out. I think it was more of like the things that were done weren't things that people could really do.
They're probably like an easy scapegoat, and then they're just like, "Oh, where were you guys?" And they're like, "We weren't anywhere near them." And they're like, "Yeah, that doesn't make sense. You guys have like hatchets. Like you wouldn't kill them. Like if you have a hatchet in your hand, like you." No, I'm just saying, like if they're like a tribe of some sort and they have a weapon, they'd be like that'd be the first thing you use, not like a thing that causes fractured skulls that doesn't cause lacerations.
Yeah, no, that's as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that still exists.
What?
Something that could crush a human skull without causing any external damage.
Oh yeah, I know about it.
Maybe high like waves of fucking sound or something. I don't fucking know. So, and then another thing people tried to say was maybe it was an avalanche, but that was immediately ruled out because like their tent was still out. They could find bodies. Like everything would have been buried. Other theorists say that the area was a military testing ground, and it was a test that went wrong, killing the skiers. It was also noted that there was a large military-related scrap metal that was found in the area, but the military denies all involvement.
Huh.
Then there was one more out-of-this-world idea, which, with no surprise, is aliens.
Yeah.
The missing tongue The orange skin and the orange spheres lead to many to believe that our friends in the skies had everything to do with it.
Okay, that's a pretty. I mean, especially with the orange glow. I mean, that's where I.
The spheres.
That's obviously That's
Yeah.
one person, and the other thing that freaked.
That
not freaked me
motherfucker's never seen the sun before.
Well,
It is that.
exactly. I mean, he probably lived out there or something. Like
Yeah.
Who camps out there? That's my question. Is like what were these people doing? Just like having a good old time.
Hope they question that
Is
motherfucker.
this what you do for fun in Russia?
Yeah.
But eventually,
Yeah. What was the thing that you had?
So what I was gonna get at is that there's this book called Dead Mountain, which actually covers this. Isn't it called the Dyatlov Pass? Like,
I think it's Dyatlov.
yeah, Dyatlov Pass. Like
That was the guy that was supposed to be like leading the pack. That was his last name.
Oh, really?
That was
okay.
Igor Dyatlov.
It's very similar to Donner Party then. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So, yeah. Okay, so, but the thing that I read is that in this book, the Dead Mountain one, he tries to figure out what actually happened, and he spent like years doing this. And he said that, and I can't like confirm or deny this obviously because it's just written in this article that I read, but he said that there was where they were camping, there's a spot where the wind comes in and it reflects off of these rocks and it makes a weird loud like sound. It almost sounds like a freight train. It's like so loud the way that like when the certain wind comes through.
Yeah.
And it's so loud that he believes, his conclusion is that these people in the tent thought that this loud sound from the wind was an avalanche.
Okay.
And that
They ran for their lives.
He did tests where he tried to unzip or undo the same exact tent from the inside, like completely in the dark. And he said that he couldn't do it really quickly. It took him like 3.5 minutes to like undo the buttons and the zippers and everything. So he believed that these people thought that an avalanche was happening. They took a knife, cut their way out of the tent, ran out in different directions, might have gotten lost because, you know, maybe the wind was kicking up some stuff and they couldn't see as well. Maybe it wasn't a storm, but there were strong winds. And he believes that was like their downfall, is that they got separated, they cut their shelter open, and that another thing about the tongue, and I heard that the eyes might have been missing too in one of these people.
Okay.
I don't know exactly, but
Yeah, I didn't say anything about that.
But he also believes that the tongue was missing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if more than tongue.
Let's
was
not
missing.
get this confused. The tongue was gone. Let's not get confused here, people. The fucking tongue was gone.
But basically, he thinks that one of the people, you know, the guy with the crushed skull, he said that
Yeah.
he might have slid down the mountain and into like a river and like hit his head really hard on a rock or
That
something.
still would have busted the outside
That's
of his
what I'm
head,
thinking.
though.
That's why I'm kind of confused by the fact that there's no laceration on the outside,
Yeah.
which is really interesting.
That's
But
the number one thing for me that makes this not make any sense, is there no lacerations or external damage.
So, and the other person who is missing their tongue, he believes that possibly
They
not
bit it off?
No, not that there was an animal involved. That there was that originally when they fell down, their head ended up in a river. Because I don't know how long they
fish ate it.
No, microbes in the water. Apparently, like the bacteria in the water,
Plankton.
Go out
Looking for the Krusty Krab
something
secret.
like that. Yeah, something like that. Like they ate away at the soft part, so it would be like eyes and tongue. And then by the time they found them, that the eyes and the tongue and the soft parts were gone because those are the easiest for them to break down.
Yeah.
And then the river was frozen over by that.
I was
going
gonna say it was -30. That's what I was about to say. Is that it was -30. The river is
Yeah,
not
I mean,
popping off.
I can't quote that book,
for
you
sure.
know, verbatim or anything like that. But like, it would be an interesting read if you want to know more about this. The book is called Dead Mountain: The Untold True Story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, and I think it goes more in depth in more of like a scientific idea. But at the end of the day, they can't really confirm any of this. This is the guy says he's like, this is just like my scientific guesstimation. Where
I mean, I'm no science man.
yeah, but he went back to the spot and he stayed there for like a while and tried to figure out what actually happened there. So it is super interesting. I mean, if there is paranormal / extraterrestrial involvement, maybe even like cryptid, where it could have been some kind of beast of some sort that lived on the mountain.
So I actually watched a movie about this, and it definitely was not a documentary. But it used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it is anymore. But
it Troll Hunter?
No, also a really good movie. I feel like we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to that though. Kind of like a low budget, maybe foreign horror film.
Okay.
But this is definitely a horror film. But it was called Devil's Pass, and I remember watching it and thinking it was really fucking awesome.
It was good?
But that was also a few years ago, and I feel like as the months go by, like my standard, I'm like realizing like, wow, like maybe that movie wasn't as good. I feel like a lot of people can say it, but I remember genuinely liking it. And so yeah, it was called Devil's Pass, and it was about this, but it was definitely more of a sci-fi horror aspect of it.
They kind of took like the main idea and then been like, how do we make this like a good movie where people are satisfied?
Yeah, they took like everything about it, like they had like how people died in it, kind of, but they added like a whole different element to it. I thought it was a really cool thing.
Well, we won't spoil it for you in case you want to check it out.
No, for sure. I didn't plan on spoiling nothing.
So check that movie out. Maybe I'll watch it myself. But
have you not seen it? It's a good one.
I don't think so. It sounds familiar, but
yeah.
But I think that wraps up the Dyatlov Pass incident and also the toxic woman. I mean, damn.
Have fun making up a title for this one.
Fuck. I'll think of something.
I know you will.
I'll think of something. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like we said, always we love telling you these stories. We love talking to you guys on a one-way phone.
It's me kissing you.
David sends his kisses, and yeah, we appreciate all your viewership as always. If you guys really like this, you can rate, review, subscribe. It means a lot to us if you could do that. I mean, we're not asking for any kind of money.
It just makes us more legit when we have those reviews and those rates.
Yeah. So if you could do that, that'd be amazing. And all links, Instagram. If you want to see the weird guy who was wearing ladies' clothes and the weird guy who was
meth party fucking his wife,
just
fucking his wife,
high on meth, and some of these toxic women and Dyatlov, one of the Yuris and one of the Alexanders, then
just going to town on her.
Yeah, go on our Instagram. We'll probably have some of the PG pictures, of these incidents.
DM us for the links.
Please don't. Please, I do not have them.
No, please DM Bogle though. Let's get that. Give me free wine.
So, yeah, check out Instagram. We have a Facebook and we have a Twitter as well, which we never use because we're bad people at marketing. So, fuck. Anyway, so yeah, check us out on there, and we really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, number 25. David, do you have anything to say?
Love you guys. Love you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
Oh, wow.
I meant that.
You're drunk.
I meant that.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap it up on that one, and you guys, thank you as always, and don't forget to stay strange.